Hey everyone! So I kind of wanted to come on and show you a little peek of my Felicity Jane Note to Self planner. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the pictures that I've been posting of the stuff that I'm doing in this planner, and I did a couple of like Insta story things and stuff like that, and I've had requests to actually show a flip through of what I'm doing in this planner, what I've done already. So this is my Felicity Jane Note to Self planner. That is the collection. I will leave the link down below to where you can find this one on the Felicity Jane website. But yeah, so this one is the black and white stripe planner. It is an A5 size. So in terms of like a standard planner, this is an A5. So the rings are standard A5 rings, but it's sort of like the Heidi Swapp planner in that it does not have a closure, and I love that about this particular planner because I can stuff it with whatever I like. And since it doesn't have a closure, there's nothing blocking me from stuffing it full. So that's really what drove me to this planner in particular, because I was waiting on the new Heidi Swapps, but they turned out to have a closure, and I did not like that. And also I did not like that the A5 has 6 rings, except the 6 rings aren't a standard A5 6 rings. They're actually a personal size 6 rings. So the A5 Heidi Swapp planners have these types of rings, personal size. So these personal inserts can fit in their A5 planners. And I didn't like that because I kind of wanted to, I guess, consolidate all the stuff that I was working on. And I think universally A5, the size is the size that I tend to work in, because I like to switch up from working in planners to working in like a project life type binder. And the great thing about the 6 ring, the A5s, is that in a project life sort of binder, so I do like 6x8 project life, and so normally the binders for 6x8 are these little 2 rings. And what's wonderful is that your A5 planner inserts, if it's the standard 6 rings, fit in these binders because those middle holes fit in. And so I kind of wanted an A5 that had the 6 rings like that, so that way I can merge the 2 if I want. And so that's what I ended up doing. If you remember, these were in my Felicity Jane binder, which has 3 rings. That's why there's an extra hole here. But I moved them into here because I'm going to combine my pages that I do in the pocket page scrapbooking with whatever I'm doing in my planner. And I do have pocket pages in here. Webster's pages make pocket pages that fit into your A5 or personal sized planners. So these are just A5 inserts. So that's all the backstory there to why I chose this particular planner. She does have other colors. I'm actually really loving the pink one. The pink one has a scalloped border here, so it doesn't have these beautiful scallop pockets. It has like one pocket like that, but I'm really loving it. So maybe I'll pick that up eventually. But this is the one that I picked, and so the inside is gold. And in my pockets, I just have random things. I'll actually go over to how I'm using this, but I just have random things in the pockets, packaging. I have a lot of packaging and photos. So I have a lot of old photos. I don't know if you're anything like me, but when you have a project and you just print out photos. So whenever I have a project, I always print out all the photos that I think I'm going to use for that particular project. So if I'm making a mini book, like I'm in the process of making my Disney mini book, and so I printed out all the photos, like all the photos that I had, and turns out I'm not using all the photos. I'm not going to end up using all those photos in that album. So I kind of put them in a envelope. This is from Free Prints, and these are all like my misfit photos. So if I want to do a page in here, I will grab photos from this to do a page. And I say that because I'm not really documenting my life in a typical way. I'm not using this as a planner, one. That I should have mentioned that. I'm not using this as a planner, so it's not I'm not planning in it or anything like that. I just using it as a binder. And the good thing about the Felicity Jane ones is that you can do that. You can use them as a binder. You can use them for whatever. So I'm using it as a binder mostly, and I'm not planning, and I'm not really documenting anything. I mean, I am documenting, but not in sort of the traditional sense of documenting. So in here, I think the only thing that's chronological is probably monthly. So I'm doing this monthly. That's how I was doing my project life, was monthly. I wasn't really doing it chronological, like week or day or whatever. I was doing it by month. And so here I'm taking that same tone. I'm doing it by month. So this is March, because that's when I started. And if you notice, I think a couple of them have the date, but I'm not really doing anything chronological, so it's not documenting like what I did this day or whatever like that. I'm actually taking more of a scrap therapy approach, so I will leave a link down below to Suse Fish's channel. She is the one who coined this scrap therapy, and it's basically a little book. She makes little books, and she does them like I don't know if she does them anymore monthly, but she does them monthly, and she just sits down and plays in it. Like she's not really documenting things in the traditional sense. She just sits and plays, and the page that she comes up with might not even have a photograph, but it'll have like maybe thoughts or a quote or, you know, some little journaling that she did for that day. And so that's sort of how I'm keeping this. It's just, you know, like this was February, so I kind of did like a roundup of books that I've read. This is March, so these are photos from March, but there's no journaling there. This is my March dashboard, so I am going to keep each month will have like a dashboard, you know. And this is just a photo, an old photo, of course, that I had in my little photo misfit envelope, and I just had fun playing around with scrapping and collage and everything. And then this is a quote. This is a quote from a book that I was reading. Actually, it's from this book. There, and that's it. Like, legit, that is how I'm working through this. This quote is from this book by Susanna Conway, and if you've been following me, I do mention her a lot. I bought a class of hers. It's called Unraveling. It's kind of like a journaling / photography course. It's a very introspective course about yourself. And I bought it in 2015, and so I decided to work through it again for this year. So a lot of the photography prompts, I'm printing out my photos and scrapbooking in them here in the planner, and then I might journal a little bit. So this was one, and this was another one, and like this was another one. And so I'll see that a lot here. So I'm not really documenting kind of my life chronologically. Oh, that this day I did this day I did this, or whatever. I'm printing out my photos, the ones that I want to include in here, but I just sit down, whatever I kind of want to put in here, I just put in here. And it's been so lovely. I realized, like, I started scrapbooking in late 2012, and it's taken me this long to realize that scrapbooking is sort of chronologically, like one does with like project life. You know, most people do it either monthly or do it weekly, and even when you do 12 by 12 layouts, they end up in an album chronologically. Memory planning is the same chronologically because you're using a planner. Just that chronological documenting of your life does not work for me. I always feel stressed out when I have to catch up because I'm behind, and it just doesn't work. It just didn't work. And so I decided this year to try this approach, to just scrapbook whenever I want in whatever format I want. So I actually am keeping a 12 by 12 album. This is the first time I'm ever keeping a 12 by 12 album. And I'm keeping the 6 by 8, which again, I'm merging with this. And then I'm keeping this. So the 6 by 8 is just pocket pages. So that is just pocket pages. If I want to do pocket pages that don't fit in the planner, they go in here. And then if I want to do pages, like this is a layout that I put in the bucket, but if I want to do regular pages, that'll be in here, and eventually I'll transfer over whatever I did for like the month of March and put it within the pocket pages. So this obviously is a pocket page, but this will all go into the album. So it's just going to be both. It's going to be a mismatch of both. And then my 12 by 12 is a mix of 12 by 12 layouts and 12 by 12 Project Life. And so those are the really two ways that I'm sort of scrapbooking this year. Besides, of course, my journals and art journaling and stuff like that. But since I'm not doing anything chronological, I can have these two albums and I can just document back and forth between the two, and I just love it. I love that freedom of doing that. And I'm the type of person who like loves to document pictures twice. So for example, I think I'm going to do a layout with this photograph. I'm definitely doing a layout with that photograph, and etc. So that'll be in the big album, but then I have this small little kind of scrap therapy sort of album. So I just kind of wanted to show you a little flip through. I wanted to explain how I was using this planner because I think that was very confusing, but this is a great way to use up a planner that you have. I know if you're a planner girl, you have tons of planners, and sometimes you don't really know what to do with them. If you just want a place to like scrap, just play around with paper and product and maybe jot in a quote or write a little journaling of what you're thinking about. It doesn't even have to include photographs, or if you do, just, whatever. I'm using packaging and all sorts of things, and it's been so fun. So this is just a dashboard. This was actually from my Heidi swap, and I cut up this piece of paper from Felicity Jane. That is another thing I want to say in this that I'm doing in this planner. I'm using products that I love, and since it's a scrap therapy, I'm trying to use up all these little pieces. So these are from papers that I absolutely adore. That's why you never throw out the papers that you love. You have all these scraps. Sometimes don't know what to do with these scraps. This project is perfect for that. So here's February. So again, the only thing that's chronological in my 6x8 pocket page and this book is that I will have one of these cards denoting the month. And these are printable that I have in my shop. They're just very simple, and I like to embellish them. So this is March over here, and then of course the March dashboard. And so I'm using, this was from a Heidi Swap memory planner pad, but I am using the memory planner stuff and some spare inserts that I had. And of course I'm using grid paper too, so I have things that are just grid paper. So this is dashboard. Again, I'm breaking everything up by month. So my dashboard here is just a little collage. I have this washi from like a Maggie Holmes collection, and so it has March, and this one just has a quote, and I think that's how I'm keeping this. I'll collage and then add a quote. And then since this was before I decided to merge my 6x8 Project Life with this book, but I just reprinted my intentions for the year to put it in here to include it. So when I combine the two, it'll have two sections where I have all of my intentions. This was from another planner. I just kind of took it out and rearranged photos and cards and stuff and stuck it in here because I like that little glimpse of all the things that I like. And again, I'm working through that unraveling course, and I'm printing out the photos that I take with the photo prompts. So it's a photography course, and she gives you photo prompts and then you do them. And so I'm printing mine out to include in here because I kind of wanted to merge it. And so I have a little bit of journaling, and this is a great way just to play with product, just to play with all my little scraps. This is something that I did for the Fairy Tale Club, and I journaled here. This Joey turned 10, and so I did a little collage here. And again, I have already reprinted this photo, and I'm going to make it 12 by 12 because I want that to be in my 12 by 12 album as well. A little bit of journaling. This is like a little flyleaf almost, and this was a giant quote. This is a Neil Gaiman quote. If you follow me on my Instagram, you would have already seen this quote and this corresponding quote in a post, but that's what I have here. I read this. I've had it on my computer because I wanted to write it down somewhere, and this was the perfect book to put it in because it's just my thoughts, my journaling, and then some quotes. And so I have that quote here, and then I have another quote that I thought matched really well with that quote. This is another entry in my unraveling course. she wanted us to write out a timeline of our life, sort of like a bullet point list of all the turning points in our life. And so I have a glycine bag here, and all of my turning points are here in this, on this page, and that tucks into here. And I decided to, let's see if it'll go back in. I decided to do a little fun scrappy collage here. That's actually Susanna Conway's book, and so I used this photograph. This photograph was something that I printed off for something else and never used it, so I decided to use it here and just had so much fun. I love how this came out, and I know I showed you, I posted pictures of all of these on my Instagram. I didn't get around to taking a photo of this because I made all this part, but I didn't have this title here. I actually put this title here yesterday. So that's something that I do too. Sometimes I'll do a collage of things and then it won't be finished, like it won't have journaling, or if it won't have a title or something, and I'll just leave it and come back to it later. That's what's really nice about working in this way, is that I can do something in the moment, and if it's not finished, I can just come back to it later. Like I wrote out this entire quote, and then like I think 2 or 3 days later, I did this little collage and wrote this one in. And it's fine. So I think I did this collage before I even did this collage. So. And this is another one with photos that I took for the unraveling course, and I wanted to put that in here. This is just a piece of printed vellum, and then this cardstock that I already had in here. And this sort of is acting like a divider, because this is my April dashboard, and I know we're like towards the end of April, and this dashboard is not finished. I want to get a quote to put here, and I haven't found one yet, and so it is blank for now. But yeah, this one, the first one had a photo of how my little craft area looked, and I wrote this and just a quote that I thought matched that. This one I decided to do, I had this photo and then I had these tags. These are packaging tags from Kath Kidston when they did their Peter Pan collection, and I bought some things and I just loved the tag. It's so cute. I love it, so I saved them, and I had this photo here and I just played. I just stuck things down, no rhyme or reason. I'm not telling a story. I am just playing and sticking stuff down, and I just love how this came out. It just came out so pretty. And I try to put a tab on each like monthly section so that I know. So this is April. I don't know where this was, but that came off. Okay. And I backed that with this beautiful paper from Felicity Jane. I hoarded this, so I think I used a little bit of it, and then I had this 6x8 piece left. This was from the, I think this was from the Note to Self collection. That's a really old kit. And then I have April, so I have a pocket page here with the April calendar, and I already have photos in. This photo is also going to go in. I have just to cut it down. And then this I want to put in this. I'm going to make a little layout here. And I already started. You can tell I started this, I don't know, I was probably doing something else, and I had these, like, you know how when you peel stuff up and you only use little bits of it? I think that's what happened here. And I started it, and I left it. And so I can come back and finish it off. And I actually might do that after I film this video. I might actually just do the collage here for that. But that's how I'm working through this planner, or this binder here. I have some photos here. These photos are misfit photos that I would love to include in here at some point. And so, but yeah, so that is how I am using my Felicity Jane planner. I hope it was interesting and gave you some sort of idea on how to use your planner. If you have extra planner, or if you kind of want to document your life but not be so stressed out by it. Like, I'm not really telling a story per se. Like, this is just a quote, but it tells a story of me writing it in here in my planner, because I can always go back when I look through. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember reading that. Or, you know, obviously this is, I'm documenting Joey's birthday, or like him, or my thoughts on him turning 10. Here, this, I was just I was talking about self-love here, right? So it's not really a moment in my life, but I'm talking about how I'm feeling. There's no date on this either. I know it was in March, so at some point in March, I was thinking about this. Same with here. Like, most of them don't really have dates. This has a date, because that was a moment, I guess. Again, this was working through the class. This one was also working through the class, but I did manage to date it March 31st, so, you know, so I'm not really telling my day-to-day story, you know, like my day-to-day life, little moments and stuff like that, but when you go back through, like, all your thoughts and all the quotes that you copied down and all this other stuff, it does tell a story of your life. So that's, like, another way to think about it, is that, you know, especially if you're hung up on having things chronological, this gives you the freedom to just do whatever sort of documenting that you want. And even if you're not telling a specific story, it's okay, because when you look back through it, like, together, it does tell the story of your year and of your life, just in a different sort of abstract-y sort of way. Anyway, so that is how I'm using this planner. I'm using it more like a scrapbook binder instead of instead of planning out things here. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed a peek into my Felicity Jane planner here. Again, I will leave a link down below to where you can find this planner and the other one. She has this one in white, and then she has two other ones that have the scalloped edge. One's in pink and the other one's also in white. So I will leave the link to the Note to Self stuff in the description box. I will also leave a link to Suse Fish's channel. I'm going to leave a link probably to her scrap therapy video. She did a video talking about scrap therapy, so you can sort of get an idea of where this whole scrap therapy idea that I got came from. It came from her, and I will leave, I think there might be like a couple of videos. I know there's one that was an introduction to scrap therapy. Definitely leaving that one, and maybe another example of her doing hers, so you can get a feel of what I mean by just playing with product, just playing around, doing whatever you want on the page, writing whatever thoughts you want. You can write your story too, if it's like you're documenting a photo, a specific photo, whatever, but it can just be whatever you want, and you create these little, you know, I mean, she puts hers in books by month, but mine will be in a binder together. So mine will be hopefully a year's worth of that stuff in a binder, if I can fit it all into a binder. And that is your life in that year. It's really fun. It's a really fun abstract idea that's like not chronological at all, and it's just so much fun. So I will leave those links down below in the description box, so you can go and look at that after this video. And yeah, so I hope you really enjoyed a peek into how I'm using this planner, and thank you so much for watching, like always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, remember to give this a thumbs up if you like, subscribe if you wish to see more from me, and I will see you all next time. Bye!